A white girl named Lily ruins her black best friend Jasmine's birthday party, making a scene that embarrasses Jasmine in front of everyone. What Lily doesn't realize is that Jasmine's reaction will lead to consequences far beyond what she anticipated. So, how does Jasmine handle the situation once the damage is done? Does she seek revenge? Or does she find a way to address the betrayal? Stick around to find out. But before we dive into the story, comment below where you're watching from today, and if you enjoy this tale, don't forget to subscribe. The sun was just beginning to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the quiet suburban neighborhood where Jasmine lived. It was a peaceful place, lined with neatly trimmed lawns, blossoming flowers, and houses that looked almost identical, save for the colors of the doors. In the middle of it all stood Jasmine's home, a modest yet welcoming two-story house with a wraparound porch where her family often gathered on warm evenings. Inside, the house was a hive of activity, filled with the sounds of laughter, chatter, and the occasional clatter of dishes as Jasmine and her mother prepared for the big day. Jasmine Daniels, a bright-eyed, kind-hearted 17-year-old, was the kind of person everyone gravitated towards. She had an easy smile, a generous spirit, and a way of making everyone around her feel special. Her dark brown skin glowed in the light. Her natural curls framed her face perfectly, and her eyes sparkled with excitement as she buzzed around the living room, arranging decorations for her upcoming 18th birthday party. It was a significant milestone, and Jasmine had been planning this party for months. Every detail, from the decorations to the playlist, had been carefully thought out with the help of her best friend, Lily. Lily Thompson was a different story. Where Jasmine was calm and collected, Lily was outgoing and assertive. She had a confidence that made her stand out in any crowd, with her blonde hair always perfectly styled and her wardrobe always on point. She was the girl who could walk into a room and instantly become the center of attention. Despite their differences, Jasmine and Lily had been best friends since they were little. Their friendship had always been one of those rare, unbreakable bonds that people marveled at. Two girls who seemed so different on the surface but were inseparable at heart. Lily had been there through all of Jasmine's major life events: birthdays, school dances, family cookouts, and everything in between. And Jasmine had done the same for Lily. They shared secrets, dreams, and inside jokes that only they understood. From sleepovers where they stayed up talking until dawn to school projects they worked on together, Jasmine and Lily were always side by side. Their friendship was the kind of thing everyone envied. But as Jasmine's birthday drew closer, a subtle shift began to occur. Lily, who had always been the confident one, started to feel something unfamiliar. A twinge of insecurity that gnawed at her every time someone praised Jasmine for her party plans. It started small, a comment here, a glance there, but it was enough to make Lily feel uneasy. She had always been the one in the spotlight, the one people noticed first. But now, with Jasmine's big day approaching, it seemed like all eyes were on Jasmine, and Lily didn't know how to handle it. Jasmine, on the other hand, was blissfully unaware of Lily's growing discomfort. She was too caught up in the excitement of her birthday, too focused on making sure everything was perfect. She didn't notice the way Lily's smile sometimes faltered when someone complimented her. She didn't catch the slight edge in Lily's voice when she talked about the party. To Jasmine, everything was just as it had always been. As they sat in Jasmine's room one evening, going over the final details of the party, Lily tried to push her feelings aside. "So, do you think we should add more lights outside?" Jasmine asked, holding up a string of fairy lights. "I want the backyard to look magical." Lily shrugged, trying to sound casual. "Yeah, sure. But don't you think you're going a bit overboard with all this? I mean, it's just a birthday party." Jasmine paused, looking at Lily with a small frown. "It's not just any birthday party, Lily. It's my 18th. I want it to be special." Lily forced a smile, nodding. "Of course. You're right. I'm just saying, you don't want to stress yourself out too much, you know?" "I'm not stressed," Jasmine replied with a grin. "I'm excited. This is going to be the best party ever." Lily laughed, but there was a hint of bitterness in her tone. "Yeah, it will be." Jasmine didn't notice. She was already thinking about the next thing on her list. "I'm so glad you're helping me with this, Lily. I couldn't have done it without you." Lily's smile tightened. "That's what best friends are for. The days leading up to the party were a whirlwind of activity. Jasmine's phone buzzed constantly with texts from friends asking about the party, offering to help, or just expressing their excitement. She spent hours finalizing the guest list, picking out decorations, and coordinating with her parents to make sure everything would be perfect. Through it all, Lily was right there by her side, but the more Jasmine talked about the party, the more distant Lily felt. It wasn't just a party, though. As Jasmine's 18th birthday approached, she seemed to shine even brighter. People at school were talking about her more, complimenting her on her plans, and telling her how amazing everything sounded. Teachers, classmates, even people who didn't usually pay much attention to Jasmine were suddenly interested in her. And every time someone mentioned Jasmine's name, Lily felt a pang of jealousy. It wasn't that Lily didn't want Jasmine to be happy. She did. Jasmine was her best friend, after all. But there was a part of Lily that couldn't help but feel like she was losing something. For so long, she had been the one everyone looked at first, the one who got all the attention. But now, with Jasmine's big day coming up, it felt like that attention was shifting away from her, and Lily didn't know how to deal with it. One afternoon, as they were hanging up decorations in Jasmine's backyard, Lily finally let some of her frustration slip out. You know, she said, tying a balloon to the fence, "It's kind of funny how everyone's making such a big deal about this party. I mean, it's just one day. It's not like it's your wedding or anything." Jasmine looked up from where she was arranging a tablecloth. "What do you mean?" "I just mean people are acting like this is the event of the century or something," Lily said with a shrug. "It's a lot of pressure, don't you think?" Jasmine frowned, sensing the underlying tone in Lily's words. "I guess it is, but it's a big deal to me, Lily. I've been looking forward to this for months." Lily nodded, but her expression didn't change. "Yeah, I know. I just don't get why it has to be such a huge thing." Jasmine hesitated, unsure of what to say. She had never seen Lily act this way before. "Are you okay, Lily? You've been acting kind of off lately." Lily forced a smile. "I'm fine. Just tired, I guess. We've been working on this party non-stop." "Yeah, we have," Jasmine agreed, still watching Lily closely. "But you know you don't have to do all this if you don't want to. I don't want you to feel like you're obligated or anything." "I want to help," Lily said quickly. "It's your big day, Jasmine. Of course, I want to help." Jasmine smiled, relieved. "Thanks, Lily. It means a lot to me." But even as they continued to work, the tension lingered. Jasmine could feel it in the way Lily's responses were a little too quick, her smiles a little too forced. Something was off, but Jasmine didn't know how to fix it. She didn't want to believe that Lily was jealous or upset. They were best friends, and best friends were supposed to be happy for each other. As the party drew nearer, Jasmine's excitement only grew. She couldn't wait to celebrate with her friends, to dance, laugh, and make memories that would last a lifetime. But for Lily, the closer the party got, the more her unease grew. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being left behind, that Jasmine was moving on to bigger and better things while she was stuck in the same place. The night before the party, Jasmine and Lily had their final sleepover as 17-year-olds. They had done this every year since they were kids, staying up late, watching movies, and talking about everything under the sun. But this time, the conversation felt different, stilted, as if there was something neither of them wanted to say. "So, are you nervous about tomorrow?" Lily asked as they sat on Jasmine's bed, the glow of the TV casting soft shadows on their faces. "Not really," Jasmine replied, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'm more excited than anything. I just want everything to go smoothly." "It will," Lily said, though there was a hint of something in her voice that Jasmine couldn't quite place. "You've planned everything perfectly." "Thanks," Jasmine said, smiling. "I couldn't have done it without you." Lily looked away, her smile fading. "Yeah, well, that's what friends are for, right?" "Right," Jasmine agreed, but the word felt heavy in the air between them. As they turned back to the movie, Jasmine couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She glanced at Lily out of the corner of her eye, but Lily's expression was unreadable, her eyes fixed on the screen. Jasmine wanted to ask her what was bothering her, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she stayed silent, hoping that whatever was wrong would resolve itself by the time the party arrived. The next morning, the day of the party, Jasmine woke up early, too excited to sleep in. The sun was shining, The sky was a brilliant blue, and everything seemed perfect. She jumped out of bed and immediately started getting things ready. Her parents were already busy in the kitchen, preparing food for the guests, and her younger siblings were running around, excited about the party even though they weren't old enough to join in. Lily stayed over for breakfast, but her usual energy was missing. She was quieter than usual, picking at her food and responding with short answers when Jasmine's parents asked her questions. Jasmine noticed, but decided not to press her. She figured Lily was just tired from all the preparations, and that she would perk up once the party started. By noon, everything was ready. The backyard was transformed into a festive wonderland with colorful streamers, balloons, and tables set up with Jasmine's favorite foods. A DJ booth was set up in one corner, and the pool sparkled invitingly under the sun. Jasmine's parents had even rented a photo booth where guests could take fun pictures to remember the day. Strings of fairy lights were draped across the trees, twinkling like stars as they caught the afternoon sun. Balloons in shades of pink, gold, and white floated above the tables, which were covered with crisp white cloths and adorned with fresh flowers. A large banner that read, "Happy 18th Birthday, Jasmine," hung proudly above the entrance to the yard, welcoming guests to the celebration. The pool sparkled invitingly, its water a clear blue, reflecting the bright sky above. Jasmine's mother had arranged a variety of floating decorations, including giant inflatable swans and lilies, which added a whimsical touch to the scene. Near the pool was a small stage with a microphone stand, ready for Jasmine's speech later in the evening. Off to the side, a DJ was setting up his equipment, preparing to keep the party lively with the latest hits and Jasmine's favorite songs. The food, too, was a sight to behold. Mrs. Daniels had personally overseen the menu, ensuring that there was something for everyone to enjoy. There were trays of finger foods, savory appetizers, and a selection of Jasmine's favorite dishes, including her mom's famous jerk chicken and macaroni and cheese. A dessert table held an array of sweets, including a towering birthday cake decorated with delicate sugar flowers and topped with 18 sparkling candles. Everything was in place, and the Daniels family couldn't have been prouder. As the first guests began to arrive, Jasmine stood by the entrance, greeting each one with a warm smile. She looked stunning in her birthday dress, a flowing, pastel-colored gown that shimmered in the light. Her hair was styled in loose curls that framed her face, and a pair of dainty earrings completed her look. Jasmine felt like a princess, and the compliments she received from her friends only made her smile wider. Lily was by her side, dressed in a stylish outfit of her own, but as the guests kept pouring in, she started to feel a twinge of discomfort. Every time someone complimented Jasmine on how beautiful she looked or how amazing the party was, Lily felt a little more invisible. She had always been the one who stood out, the one who drew people's attention, but today it was all about Jasmine. "Jasmine, this party is amazing. You really outdid yourself," one of their classmates gushed as she arrived, giving Jasmine a big hug. "Thanks, Samara," Jasmine replied, her eyes shining with happiness. "I couldn't have done it without Lily's help." Lily forced a smile, but inside, she was growing more and more uneasy. She had been looking forward to this day too, but now that it was here, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being overshadowed. She had helped plan the party, had been there every step of the way, but no one seemed to notice. All they saw was Jasmine, glowing and radiant, basking in the attention. As more guests arrived, the backyard filled with laughter and chatter. Everyone was having a great time, admiring the decorations, enjoying the food, and mingling with each other. The DJ started playing music, and soon, people were dancing by the pool, their movements carefree and full of joy. It was exactly the kind of party Jasmine had dreamed of, and she was in her element, surrounded by the people she loved. But as the afternoon wore on, Lily's discomfort deepened. She tried to push the feelings away, to focus on having fun and celebrating with her best friend, but the jealousy gnawed at her. Every time someone praised Jasmine, it felt like a reminder of her own fading presence. She had never felt this way before, and the unfamiliarity of it only made it worse. At one point, Lily found herself standing alone by the dessert table, watching Jasmine laugh with a group of friends. Jasmine's smile was radiant, her joy contagious, and everyone around her seemed drawn to her like moths to a flame. Lily wanted to be happy for her. Jasmine deserved this day. But the envy swirling inside her wouldn't let go. "Hey, Lily, are you okay?" a voice asked, breaking her out of her thoughts. It was Carla, another one of their friends, who had noticed Lily standing off to the side. Lily plastered on a smile. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just taking it all in." Carla nodded, though she didn't seem entirely convinced. "It's a great party, huh?" Jasmine really knows how to throw one. "Yeah, she does," Lily agreed, her voice tight. Carla lingered for a moment, sensing the tension, but eventually drifted back into the crowd. Lily was left alone again, her thoughts churning. She knew she shouldn't be feeling this way. Jasmine was her best friend, the person who had always been there for her. But today, Lily felt like she was standing in her shadow. As the evening approached and the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm, golden light over the party, the atmosphere grew even livelier. The DJ cranked up the music, and people began dancing in earnest. Jasmine joined in, her laughter ringing out as she danced with her friends. She looked so happy, so at ease, and Lily felt a pang of guilt. She should be right there beside her, sharing in the joy, but instead, she was standing on the sidelines, feeling more like an outsider with each passing minute. Finally, unable to contain her frustration any longer, Lily decided to insert herself into the spotlight. She made her way over to where Jasmine was dancing and joined in, trying to recapture some of the attention. For a while, it worked. People noticed her, complimented her on her dance moves, and for a brief moment, she felt the familiar thrill of being noticed. But as soon as Jasmine stepped back into the center, the attention shifted back to her. Jasmine noticed Lily's sudden change in behavior and felt a flicker of unease. She had always been sensitive to Lily's moods, and she could tell something was off. But before she could say anything, one of their mutual friends pulled her aside to take a picture, and the moment passed. Jasmine decided to brush it off, hoping that Lily would snap out of it soon. But Lily wasn't about to let it go. As the night wore on, her passive-aggressive comments started to slip out. When someone complimented Jasmine's dress, Lily would chime in with, "Yeah, it's nice, but I thought you were going to wear the blue one. That would have been even better." When people praised the decorations, she'd add, "We almost didn't get the balloons on time. That would have been a disaster." And when the DJ played one of Jasmine's favorite songs, Lily muttered, "I guess it's okay, but the playlist I suggested would have really got people moving." At first, Jasmine tried to brush off Lily's remarks, telling herself that her friend was just tired or stressed. But as the comments continued, they began to wear on her. Jasmine could feel the tension building between them, and she wasn't the only one who noticed. A few of the guests shot each other uneasy glances, sensing the undercurrent of hostility that was slowly creeping into the party. "Lily, is everything okay?" Jasmine finally asked during a quieter moment, pulling her friend aside. "You've been acting weird all day." Lily looked at Jasmine, her expression hard to read. "I'm fine," she said, but her tone was sharp. "Why wouldn't I be?" "I don't know," Jasmine replied, trying to keep her voice light. "It just seems like something's bothering you." "Nothing's bothering me," Lily insisted, though the edge in her voice betrayed her words. "I'm just trying to enjoy the party." Jasmine hesitated, wanting to press the issue, but before she could, another guest approached them, interrupting the conversation. Jasmine forced a smile and turned her attention to the newcomer, but the nagging feeling that something was wrong with Lily didn't go away. The evening continued, and so did the party, but the mood had shifted. What had started as a day full of joy and celebration was now tinged with an undercurrent of tension. Jasmine tried to focus on her guests, to enjoy the moment, but the weight of Lily's attitude hung over her like a cloud. She could feel the distance growing between them, and it hurt more than she wanted to admit. As the night wore on, Lily's jealousy reached its peak. She could no longer hide it, no longer pretend that everything was fine. She felt like she was suffocating, trapped in a world where Jasmine was the star, and she was just an afterthought. Every smile Jasmine gave, every laugh she shared with someone else, felt like a knife twisting in Lily's gut. The night had grown cooler as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the Daniels' backyard. The twinkling fairy lights now glowed brightly, illuminating the space with a warm, golden hue. The music had mellowed, and the guests, still buzzing with energy, gathered around the small stage set up by the pool. It was time for the moment Jasmine had been looking forward to all night, her speech. Jasmine, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, stepped up onto the stage. The crowd quieted, and all eyes turned to her. She could see her parents standing at the back, their faces beaming with pride, and her friends, including Lily, gathered in the front row. Jasmine took a deep breath, clutching the microphone tightly in her hand, and began to speak. "First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," Jasmine said, her voice trembling slightly at first but growing stronger as she continued. "This is such a special day for me, and it means the world to have all of you here to celebrate it with me. I'm so grateful to have such amazing friends and family who support me and love me. I wouldn't be who I am today without all of you." The crowd erupted into applause, and Jasmine felt a warm wave of affection wash over her. She had practiced this speech for weeks, wanted to make sure she expressed just how much everyone meant to her. But as she continued, she noticed Lily standing off to the side, her arms crossed and a tight expression on her face. Jasmine hesitated for a split second, sensing something was wrong, but quickly pushed the thought aside. This was her moment, and she wasn't going to let anything ruin it. "I also want to give a special thank you to my best friend, Lily," Jasmine said, turning to face her. "Lily, you've been by my side through everything. We've shared so many memories, laughs, and even a few tears. You helped me plan this party, and I couldn't have done it without you. I'm so lucky to have you in my life." The guests smiled warmly at Lily, some nodding in agreement. But instead of the gratitude Jasmine expected, Lily's expression hardened even more. The jealousy and resentment that had been bubbling inside her all day now surged to the surface, and she couldn't hold it back any longer. As Jasmine opened her mouth to continue, Lily suddenly stepped forward, cutting her off. "Oh, please, Jasmine," she said loudly, her voice laced with bitterness. "Spare us the heartfelt speech. We all know you love being the center of attention." A stunned silence fell over the crowd. Jasmine's eyes widened in shock, her mouth hanging open as she struggled to comprehend what was happening. "Lily, what are you?" "You heard me," Lily snapped, her voice rising with each word. "You always have to be the star of the show, don't you? Everything always has to be about you. I'm so sick of it." The guests looked at each other in confusion and disbelief. This wasn't the friendly banter they were used to seeing between Jasmine and Lily. This was something darker, something ugly. Jasmine felt a sinking feeling in her stomach as she realized this was no joke. "Lily, please," Jasmine said, her voice shaking. "This isn't the time for this." "Oh, really?" Lily shot back, her eyes blazing with anger. "Because it seems like it's always the time for you. I'm done pretending like everything's okay. You think you're so perfect, don't you? But you're not. You're just like everyone else, and it's about time people see that." Jasmine's heart pounded in her chest, and she could feel tears welling up in her eyes. "Lily, why are you doing this?" "Because I'm tired of being in your shadow," Lily shouted, her voice echoing across the yard. "I'm tired of everyone acting like you're some kind of saint. You're not, Jasmine. You have flaws, just like everyone else, and I'm done pretending like you don't." Jasmine stood frozen, unable to speak as the guests looked on in stunned silence. The party, which had been so full of joy and celebration just moments before, now felt cold and tense. The happiness that had filled the air was gone, replaced by an uncomfortable unease. But Lily wasn't done. Fueled by a mix of jealousy, anger, and the desperate need to be noticed, she decided to reveal the one secret she knew would hurt Jasmine the most. "You want to know the real Jasmine?" Lily said, her voice dripping with venom. "The one who pretends to be so nice and perfect? Well, let me tell you something. Jasmine didn't get into her dream college on her own merit. She got in because her parents pulled some strings and made a donation. That's right. All that hard work she's always bragging about, it doesn't mean anything because she cheated her way in." Gasps rippled through the crowd, and Jasmine felt as if the ground had just been pulled out from under her. Her face drained of color, and she looked at Lily with a mix of shock and betrayal. The secret Lily had just revealed was something Jasmine had confided in her in a moment of vulnerability, trusting her friend to keep it safe. Now, that trust was shattered, and Jasmine's heart broke as she realized the extent of Lily's betrayal. "That's not true," Jasmine cried, her voice cracking as tears streamed down her face. "My parents didn't." "Save it, Jasmine," Lily interrupted coldly. "We all know the truth now. So much for your perfect image, huh?" Jasmine's legs felt weak, and she stumbled back, nearly dropping the microphone. The world around her seemed to blur as she fought to hold back the sobs that threatened to break free. The guests were whispering among themselves, some looking at Jasmine with pity, others with judgment. The beautiful night that had started with so much promise was now in ruins, all because of Lily's cruel words. Unable to take it any longer, Jasmine turned and fled from the stage, her vision blurred by tears. She didn't know where she was going, only that she needed to get away from the stares, the whispers, and most of all, from Lily. She ran through the backyard, past the tables, past the decorations, and out the gate, disappearing into the night. The guests remained silent, too stunned to move. Mr. and Mrs. Daniels exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to do. The atmosphere was thick with tension and shock, and it was clear that the party was over. What should have been a night of celebration had been torn apart by Lily's jealousy, leaving nothing but broken pieces in its wake. As for Lily, the weight of what she had just done hit her like a ton of bricks. The adrenaline that had fueled her outburst was gone, replaced by a cold, hollow feeling in the pit of her stomach. She looked around at the faces of the people she had known for years, now staring at her with a mix of disbelief and disappointment. For the first time that night, Lily realized the full extent of the damage she had caused. "I didn't mean to," Lily started, her voice barely above a whisper, but the words died in her throat. She knew it was too late. There was no taking back what she had said, no undoing the hurt she had caused. The bond she had with Jasmine, the friendship that had meant so much to her, was now broken, perhaps beyond repair. Feeling the weight of her actions, Lily's knees buckled, and she sank to the ground, her eyes welling up with tears. She had wanted to hurt Jasmine, to bring her down from the pedestal she had placed her on, but now that she had succeeded, all she felt was regret. The satisfaction she had expected never came. Instead, she was left with an overwhelming sense of guilt and sorrow. Lily's mind raced as she replayed the events of the night over and over again, each time wishing she could go back and change what she had done. But no matter how much she wished it, she knew there was no going back. The damage was done, and the consequences were real. As the guests slowly began to disperse, the whispers and murmurs growing louder, Lily remained where she was, curled up on the ground, her heart heavy with remorse. She had lost more than just a friend that night. She had lost a part of herself, the part that had once been good and kind. In her jealousy and desperation, she had let that part of herself slip away, and now, all she could do was wonder if she would ever get it back. The night ended not with the joy and laughter that Jasmine had envisioned, but with tears and heartache. The once lively and vibrant backyard was now quiet and empty, a stark reminder of what had been lost. The fairy lights still twinkled above, but their glow felt dimmer, as if they too had been affected by the events of the evening. And as Lily sat alone in the darkness, she couldn't help but think that this was exactly what she deserved. The weeks following Jasmine's ruined birthday party dragged on like years for both Jasmine and Lily. The once inseparable friends now moved in different orbits, their paths crossing only in the unavoidable moments at school or around town. Each time their eyes met, a flicker of pain, regret, and unspoken words passed between them before they quickly looked away. For Jasmine, the hurt ran deep. It wasn't just about the public humiliation or the betrayal of her trust. It was about realizing that the person she thought knew her best, the friend she had shared everything with, had harbored such resentment and jealousy. Every time she replayed Lily's words in her mind, she felt a fresh wave of pain wash over her. The worst part was that Lily's accusation about her college admission wasn't entirely false. which made the betrayal even more painful. Jasmine had confided in Lily during a moment of vulnerability, seeking support and understanding. Instead, Lily had used that information as a weapon to hurt her. Jasmine found herself withdrawing from her other friends as well. She politely declined invitations to hangouts and study sessions, preferring the solitude of her room. Her parents watched with growing concern as their usually vibrant and outgoing daughter became more reserved and introspective. One evening, as Jasmine sat at her desk, absently flipping through a textbook, her mother gently knocked on the door. "Jasmine, honey, can I come in?" Jasmine sighed softly but nodded. "Yeah, Mom, come in." Mrs. Daniels entered the room, her eyes filled with concern as she took in her daughter's dejected posture. She sat on the edge of Jasmine's bed, patting the spot next to her. Jasmine hesitated for a moment before joining her mother. "Sweetheart," Mrs. Daniels began, her voice gentle, "I know you're hurting. What Lily did was wrong, and you have every right to be upset. But I'm worried about you. You've been so withdrawn lately." Jasmine felt tears prick at her eyes, but she blinked them back. "I'm fine, Mom. Really. I just need some time." Her mother wrapped an arm around her shoulders, pulling her close. "I know, baby, but isolating yourself isn't the answer. Your other friends are worried about you, too. They want to help." Jasmine leaned into her mother's embrace, feeling a lump form in her throat. "I know they mean well, but I just don't know who I can trust anymore. If Lily could turn on me like that, how do I know others won't do the same?" Mrs. Daniels sighed, rubbing soothing circles on Jasmine's back. "Oh, sweetie, what Lily did was terrible, but you can't let her actions poison your other relationships. Not everyone is going to hurt you like that. But how can I be sure?" Jasmine whispered, her voice trembling. "You can't be completely sure, honey. That's part of life. But you can't close yourself off from everyone either. That's no way to live." Mrs. Daniels paused, choosing her next words carefully. "Have you thought about talking to Lily? Maybe hearing her out might help you process everything." Jasmine stiffened, pulling away slightly. "I can't, Mom. I'm not ready. Every time I see her, I just feel so angry and hurt. I don't know what I'd say to her." Her mother nodded understandingly. "That's okay, Jasmine. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. Just know that your father and I are here for you, and so are your true friends. Don't push everyone away because of what one person did." Jasmine nodded, feeling a small weight lift from her shoulders. She knew her mother was right, even if it was hard to act on that advice right now. "Thanks, Mom," she said softly, hugging her mother tightly. As Jasmine struggled to find her footing again, Lily was grappling with the consequences of her actions. The initial shock of what she had done had worn off, replaced by a deep, gnawing guilt that seemed to permeate every aspect of her life. She had always prided herself on being confident and self-assured, but now she felt lost and unsure of everything. At school, Lily felt the weight of judgment from her peers. Whispers followed her down the hallways, and people who had once greeted her warmly now averted their eyes or gave her cold stares. She had gone from being one of the most popular girls in school to a social pariah almost overnight. Even worse than the social ostracization was the knowledge that she had hurt Jasmine so deeply. Lily had tried reaching out multiple times, leaving voicemails and sending text messages, but Jasmine remained silent. Each unanswered message felt like another nail in the coffin of their friendship. One afternoon, as Lily sat alone at lunch, picking at her food without any real appetite, she felt someone slide into the seat across from her. Looking up, she was surprised to see Amara, one of Jasmine's close friends. "Hey," Amara said, her expression neutral. Lily blinked, unsure how to respond. This was the first time in weeks that anyone had willingly approached her. "Hi," she replied cautiously. Amara studied her for a moment before speaking. "Look, I'm not here to yell at you or anything. I want to understand why you did it. Why did you hurt Jasmine like that?" Lily felt her throat tighten. She had asked herself the same question countless times over the past few weeks. I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was jealous, I guess. Angry. I felt like I was being left behind." Amara's eyebrows furrowed. "Left behind? Lily, you've always been the center of attention. How could you possibly feel left behind? Lily shook her head, feeling frustrated with herself. I know it doesn't make sense, but seeing Jasmine so happy, so confident, I don't know. It made me feel small somehow, like I was losing my place. Your place? Amara repeated, a note of disbelief in her voice. Lily, friendship isn't a competition. There isn't a limited amount of happiness or success to go around. Jasmine's joy didn't take anything away from you. Lily felt tears welling up in her eyes. I know that now. God, I know how stupid and selfish I was. I let my insecurities take over, and I lashed out in the worst possible way. Amara was quiet for a moment, processing Lily's words. You really hurt her, you know, she said finally, her voice soft but firm. Not just with what you said at the party, but by betraying her trust like that. She trusted you with something personal, and you used it against her. Lily nodded, unable to meet Amara's eyes. I know. I've been trying to apologize, but she won't talk to me. Not that I blame her. Can you blame her? Amara asked, though her tone was more curious than accusatory. You didn't just hurt her feelings, Lily. You made her question her whole friendship with you. That's not something that can be fixed with a simple apology. Lily looked up, her eyes pleading. Then what can I do? How can I make this right? Amara sighed, her expression softening slightly. I don't know if you can make it right, Lily. Some things can't be undone. But if you really want to try, you need to do more than just apologize. You need to show Jasmine and everyone else that you've changed, that you understand why what you did was wrong, and that you're committed to being a better person. With that, Amara stood up, gathering her things. But before she left, she turned back to Lily. And Lily, maybe take some time to think about why you felt so threatened by Jasmine's happiness. That's not how a true friend should feel. As Amara walked away, Lily sat there, her food forgotten as she mulled over Amara's words. She knew Amara was right. A simple "I'm sorry" wasn't going to cut it. She needed to do more, to be more. But where could she even start? Over the next few days, Lily threw herself into self-reflection. She spent hours journaling, trying to untangle the mess of emotions that had led her to that fateful moment at Jasmine's party. As she wrote, she began to see patterns in her behavior that she had never noticed before. She realized that her confidence, which she had always worn like armor, was actually quite fragile. It depended on being the center of attention, on being admired and envied by others. When Jasmine had started to shine in her own right, Lily had felt threatened, as if Jasmine's success somehow diminished her own. But more than that, Lily began to confront the uncomfortable truth about her own privilege. She had always known, on some level, that her life was easier in many ways than Jasmine's. But she had never truly acknowledged it or thought about what it meant. As she reflected on their years of friendship, Lily started to see all the times she had been insensitive or dismissive of Jasmine's experiences. Times when Jasmine had tried to talk about the challenges she faced as a young black woman, and Lily had brushed it off or changed the subject. She had never meant to be hurtful, but her ignorance and unwillingness to engage with these issues had caused pain nonetheless. One evening, as Lily sat at her desk, staring at the pages of her journal filled with her messy handwriting, she made a decision. She couldn't change the past, but she could start working on herself now. She opened her laptop and began researching, reading articles and watching videos about privilege, unconscious bias, and how to be a better ally. The more she learned, the more Lily realized how much she had to learn. It was overwhelming at times and often uncomfortable. She found herself cringing at memories of things she had said or done, seeing them in a new light. But she pushed through the discomfort, knowing that this was necessary growth. As the weeks passed, Lily's efforts to educate herself began to show in small ways. In class discussions, she found herself listening more and speaking less, especially when topics of race or inequality came up. She started calling out microaggressions when she heard them, even if it meant standing up to her other friends. One day, during lunch, Lily overheard a group of students making insensitive comments about a new transfer student who wore a hijab. In the past, she might have laughed along or stayed silent. But now, she felt a surge of anger and disappointment. "Hey," she said, approaching the group. That's not cool. You don't know anything about her or her beliefs. Maybe try talking to her instead of making assumptions. The group fell silent, looking at Lily with surprise. She had never been one to call people out like this before. After a moment of awkward silence, one of the boys mumbled an apology, and the group dispersed. As Lily turned away, she caught sight of Jasmine watching her from across the cafeteria. Their eyes met for a brief moment, and Lily thought she saw a flicker of something. Not forgiveness, certainly, but perhaps a hint of acknowledgement. It wasn't much, but it gave Lily a small spark of hope. Meanwhile, Jasmine was slowly starting to emerge from her shell. Encouraged by her mother's words and the persistent support of her friends, she began to rejoin social activities. It wasn't easy. She still felt vulnerable and hesitant to trust. But she found that being around people who genuinely cared about her helped ease the pain. One Saturday afternoon, Jasmine agreed to join a small study group at the local library. As she approached the table where her friends were gathered, she felt a flutter of anxiety in her stomach. But Amara looked up and gave her a warm smile, and Jasmine felt some of the tension leave her body. "Hey, Jazz," Amara said, patting the empty seat next to her. "We're just getting started on the history project. Want to join our group?" Jasmine nodded, settling into the chair. "Sure, thanks." As they worked, Jasmine found herself relaxing more and more. The familiar rhythm of studying and collaborating with her friends felt comforting. For the first time in weeks, she felt almost normal. During a break, as they were chatting about an upcoming school event, Amara casually mentioned Lily's name. Jasmine tensed immediately, her guard going up. Noticing Jasmine's reaction, Amara quickly added, "Sorry, I didn't mean to bring her up. It's just, I talked to her the other day. She seems really torn up about what happened." Jasmine frowned, conflicting emotions swirling inside her. Part of her was glad to hear that Lily was remorseful, but another part still felt the sharp sting of betrayal. "I'm not ready to talk to her," she said firmly. Amara nodded understandingly. "Of course, and no one's saying you have to. I thought you should know that she's trying to change. I've seen her standing up for people, calling out bad behavior. It's like she's really trying to be a better person." Jasmine was quiet for a moment, processing this information. She had noticed some changes in Lily's behavior too, but she had been trying not to pay attention. "That's good, I guess," she said finally. "But it doesn't change what she did." "No, it doesn't," Amara agreed. "And you have every right to still be hurt and angry. I just wanted you to know that your friendship meant something to her. She's not just moving on like nothing happened." Jasmine nodded, feeling a mix of emotions she couldn't quite name. "Thanks for telling me," she said softly. As they returned to their studying, Jasmine found her mind wandering. She thought about Lily, about their years of friendship, about the good times and the bad. She thought about the hurt and betrayal she still felt, but also about the possibility of forgiveness. It wasn't something she was ready for yet, but for the first time since her birthday party, Jasmine allowed herself to consider the idea that maybe, someday, she and Lily might find a way to move forward. The next few weeks brought gradual changes for both Jasmine and Lily. Jasmine continued to reconnect with her friends and engage more in school activities. She still had moments of doubt and insecurity, but she was learning to lean on her support system when those feelings arose. Lily, for her part, remained committed to her journey of self-improvement. She joined the school's diversity and inclusion committee, not as a leader, but as someone eager to learn and contribute. She started volunteering at a local community center, working with underprivileged youth. With each passing day, she felt like she was becoming a better version of herself. However, the rift between Jasmine and Lily remained. They still didn't speak directly to each other, though they no longer went out of their way to avoid each other in the hallways. It was a silent acknowledgement of each other's presence, neither friendly nor hostile. As the end of the school year approached, the senior class began preparing for graduation. The air was filled with excitement and nostalgia, students buzzing about college plans and final high school memories. It was during this time that an unexpected opportunity arose. The class president announced a special project, a video montage of the senior class's journey through high school to be played at graduation. Students were encouraged to submit photos and short video clips of memorable moments from the past 4 years. When Jasmine heard about the project, her first instinct was to ignore it. The thought of revisiting old memories, many of which included Lily, was painful. But as she scrolled through her phone's photo gallery that evening, she found herself pausing on a picture from sophomore year. It was from the school's cultural fair. Jasmine and Lily stood side by side, grinning widely at the camera. Jasmine was wearing traditional African attire, while Lily had on a colorful sari she had borrowed from another friend. They looked so happy, so carefree. Jasmine felt a lump form in her throat as she stared at the photo. Despite everything that had happened, she couldn't deny the genuine friendship that had existed between them. With a deep breath, she made a decision. The next day, Jasmine approached the class president after school. "Hey, Sarah," she said, her voice slightly hesitant. "I have some photos for the graduation video. Is it too late to submit them?" Sarah's face lit up. "Not at all. We'd love to have them. Thanks, Jasmine." As Jasmine handed over a USB drive with a selection of photos, including the one from the cultural fair, she felt a mix of emotions. Part of her wondered if she was making a mistake, reopening old wounds. But another part felt like this was an important step, acknowledging the good parts of her past, even as she moved forward. What Jasmine didn't know was that Lily had made a similar decision. Lily had also submitted photos for the video, including several of her and Jasmine together. Like Jasmine, she had grappled with whether or not to include these memories, but ultimately decided that erasing their friendship from the narrative felt dishonest. As the days ticked down to graduation, both girls found themselves reflecting more on their shared past and uncertain future. The weight of unresolved feelings hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of what had been lost and what might never be regained. One afternoon, about a week before graduation, Jasmine was cleaning out her locker when she came across an old friendship bracelet. It was a simple thing, made of colorful threads woven together, with small charms dangling from it. Lily had made it for her on their first day of high school, a symbol of their enduring friendship. Jasmine had worn it every day until the night of her ruined birthday party. As she held the bracelet in her hand, memories flooded back. The laughter they had shared, the secrets they had kept, the dreams they had nurtured together. For a moment, the pain of betrayal was overshadowed by a deep sense of loss. Without really thinking about it, Jasmine slipped the bracelet into her pocket. She wasn't ready to wear it again, but she couldn't bring herself to throw it away either. Meanwhile, Lily was going through a similar process of reflection. As she packed up her room, preparing for the move to college, she came across countless reminders of her friendship with Jasmine. Photos, notes passed in class, little gifts they had exchanged over the years. Each item was a bittersweet reminder of what she had lost through her own actions. One item, in particular, caught her attention, a small, framed photo of her and Jasmine at their junior prom. They were both dressed up, smiling widely at the camera, arms around each other's shoulders. Lily remembered that night vividly. They had gotten ready together, giggling and taking selfies as they did each other's makeup. It had been a perfect evening, full of dancing and laughter. Lily traced her finger over the image, her heart heavy with regret. She had taken their friendship for granted, allowed her own insecurities and jealousy to poison something beautiful. As she stared at the photo, Lily made a decision. She couldn't change the past, but maybe, just maybe, she could take a step towards a better future. The next day at school, Lily approached Jasmine's locker with trepidation. Her heart was pounding, and her palms were sweaty, but she was determined to do this. Jasmine was there, exchanging some books for her next class. "Jasmine," Lily said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Jasmine froze, her hand still on her locker door. Slowly, she turned to face Lily, her expression guarded. "Yes." Lily took a deep breath, steeling herself. I know you probably don't want to talk to me, and I completely understand, but I wanted to give you this." She held out an envelope, her hand shaking slightly. Jasmine looked at the envelope, then back at Lily, confusion and wariness evident in her eyes. After a moment's hesitation, she took it. "What is this?" "It's a letter," Lily explained, her voice trembling slightly. "I've been trying to find the right words to say to you for months, and I thought maybe writing them down would be easier. You don't have to read it if you don't want to. I just, I needed you to have it. Jasmine nodded slowly, her fingers tightening around the envelope. Okay, she said, her voice neutral. Lily managed a small, sad smile. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. With that, she turned and walked away, leaving Jasmine standing there, the envelope clutched in her hand. For the rest of the day, Jasmine couldn't focus on anything. The envelope seemed to burn a hole in her backpack, demanding her attention. Part of her wanted to rip it open immediately, while another part wanted to throw it away unread. In the end, she decided to wait until she got home, where she could read it in private. That evening, Jasmine sat cross-legged on her bed, staring at the unopened envelope. With trembling hands, she finally broke the seal and pulled out several pages covered in Lily's familiar handwriting. Dear Jasmine, the letter began. I've started this letter 100 times, and I still don't know if I have the right words. But I need to try, because you deserve an explanation and an apology, and so much more than I can ever give you. First, I want to say I'm sorry. I know those words aren't enough, that they can't erase what I did or heal the hurt I caused. But I need you to know that I am truly, deeply sorry for what I did. Not just for what I said at your party, but for all the times I was insensitive, all the times I didn't listen, all the times I put my own feelings above yours. What I did was inexcusable. I betrayed your trust in the worst possible way, and I hurt you in front of everyone we know. I let my jealousy and insecurity turn me into someone I never wanted to be. I was selfish and cruel, and I will regret it for the rest of my life. But I want you to know that losing your friendship has made me realize how much I took it for granted. You were always there for me, always supporting me, always believing in me. And instead of appreciating that, I let my own issues blind me to what a wonderful friend you were. These past few months have been the hardest of my life, not because people are mad at me or because I lost my social status, but because I lost you. I lost the person who knew me better than anyone, who always saw the best in me even when I couldn't see it myself. I've spent a lot of time thinking about why I did what I did, trying to understand my own actions. And I've realized that a lot of it comes down to my own privilege and ignorance. I never truly understood or acknowledged the challenges you face that I don't have to think about. I was so caught up in my own world that I didn't see how my actions and words might affect you. I'm trying to change that. I'm educating myself, listening more, trying to be more aware of my own biases and prejudices. It's not easy, and I know I'll make mistakes along the way, but I'm committed to doing better. I don't expect this letter to fix anything. I don't expect you to forgive me or to want to be friends again. I just wanted you to know that I understand the magnitude of what I did, that I'm truly sorry, and that I'm working on being a better person. You deserve all the happiness and success in the world, Jasmine. You're an amazing person, and I'm so grateful for the years of friendship we shared. Whatever happens, I will always cherish those memories. I hope that someday, even if we're not friends again, you can think of me without pain. And I hope you know that no matter what, I will always be rooting for you. With deepest regret and sincerest apologies, Lily. By the time Jasmine finished reading, tears were streaming down her face. She felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, pain, sadness, and something else she couldn't quite name. Part of her wanted to crumple up the letter and throw it away, to hold on to her anger and hurt. But another part of her, a part she had been trying to ignore, felt a glimmer of something like hope. Over the next few days, Jasmine found herself rereading the letter several times. Each time, she noticed something new: the genuine remorse in Lily's words, the self-awareness she demonstrated, the lack of excuses for her behavior. It didn't erase the hurt, but it did make Jasmine see things in a slightly different light. As graduation day approached, the atmosphere at school became increasingly emotional. Students were saying goodbye, signing yearbooks, making promises to keep in touch. Jasmine found herself caught up in the bittersweet feelings of ending one chapter of her life and beginning another. The night before graduation, Jasmine lay in bed, unable to sleep. Her mind was racing with thoughts about the future, about college, about leaving home. But underneath all of that was a persistent thought about Lily and their unresolved situation. After tossing and turning for hours, Jasmine finally gave up on sleep. She sat up in bed, reached for her phone, and began typing a message. She hesitated several times, her finger hovering over the send button, before finally taking a deep breath and pressing it. Across town, Lily was also awake, her own mind full of thoughts about the future and regrets about the past. When her phone buzzed with a message, she nearly dropped it in surprise when she saw Jasmine's name on the screen. The message was simple. "Can we talk? After the ceremony tomorrow?" Lily's heart raced as she quickly typed back, "Yes, of course. Whenever and wherever you want." Jasmine's reply came a moment later. "Okay, I'll find you after." The next morning dawned bright and clear, perfect weather for an outdoor graduation ceremony. The school grounds were a sea of blue and gold, students in their caps and gowns hugging parents and posing for photos. Throughout the ceremony, both Jasmine and Lily found their attention divided between the speeches and their impending conversation. When it was time for the class video, both held their breath, wondering if the other had submitted photos of them together. As images flashed across the screen, accompanied by a nostalgic soundtrack, there were laughs and cheers from the audience. And then there was a series of photos showing Jasmine and Lily throughout their high school years. The cultural fair, junior prom, and several other moments captured in time. Jasmine felt a lump in her throat as she watched their friendship play out on screen. She glanced over at Lily, who was wiping tears from her eyes. For a brief moment, their eyes met across the crowd, and Jasmine felt a flutter in her chest. After the ceremony, as families and friends gathered to take photos and offer congratulations, Jasmine made her way through the crowd. She found Lily standing off to the side, looking uncertain. "Hey," Jasmine said softly as she approached. Lily looked up, her eyes wide with surprise and hope. "Hey," she replied, her voice equally soft. There was an awkward moment of silence before Jasmine spoke again. "Do you want to go somewhere quieter to talk?" Lily nodded eagerly. "Yes, please." They walked in silence to a quiet corner of the school grounds, away from the crowds. Jasmine sat on a bench, and after a moment's hesitation, Lily joined her, leaving a respectful distance between them. "I read your letter," Jasmine began, her voice steady despite the nervousness she felt. Lily nodded, not trusting herself to speak. "It meant a lot to me that you wrote it," Jasmine continued, "and I appreciate your honesty and your apology." "I meant every word," Lily said softly. Jasmine nodded, taking a deep breath before continuing. "What you did, it hurt me more than I can express. It wasn't just the public humiliation, though that was bad enough. It was the betrayal of trust. I trusted you with something personal, something I was struggling with, and you used it against me in the worst possible way." Lily felt tears welling up in her eyes, but she blinked them back. She owed it to Jasmine to listen without interrupting. "For a long time, I was so angry. I didn't want to think about you or talk about you. I just wanted to pretend like our whole friendship had never happened," Jasmine admitted. "But the truth is I missed you. I missed my best friend. And that made me even angrier, because I felt like I shouldn't miss someone who hurt me so badly." "I'm so sorry, Jasmine," Lily whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "I know it doesn't change anything, but I truly am sorry for everything." Jasmine nodded, acknowledging Lily's words. "I know you are, and I believe that you're trying to change, to be better. I've seen it, even from a distance." A flicker of hope sparked in Lily's chest, but she tried to temper it. She knew she didn't deserve forgiveness, no matter how much she wanted it. "I'm not saying I forgive you," Jasmine continued, causing Lily's heart to sink. "At least, not yet. What you did is not something I can just get over. It's going to take time." "I understand," Lily said, trying to keep the disappointment out of her voice. But Jasmine wasn't finished. "However," she said, her voice softening slightly, I think I'm ready to try. To work towards forgiveness, I mean." Lily's head snapped up, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Really?" she breathed. Jasmine nodded slowly. "Yeah, we're both about to start new chapters in our lives. And I don't want to carry this anger and hurt with me. It's exhausting." I don't know what to say," Lily stammered. "I don't deserve a second chance, but if you're willing to give me one, I promise I'll do everything I can to earn your trust back. It won't be easy, Jasmine warned. We can't just go back to how things were before. Too much has happened. We'd have to start over, build something new. Lily nodded eagerly. I understand. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Even if we can't be best friends again, even if we're just acquaintances, I'd be grateful for any place in your life. Jasmine was quiet for a moment, considering. Then, slowly, she reached into her pocket and pulled out the friendship bracelet she had found in her locker. Do you remember this? She asked, holding it out. Lily gasped softly, her eyes filling with tears. Of course. I made it for you on our first day of high school. Jasmine nodded, running her thumb over the faded threads. I found it when I was cleaning out my locker. I almost threw it away, but I couldn't. It felt like throwing away all the good memories along with the bad. She held the bracelet out to Lily. I'm not ready to wear it again, but maybe we could keep it as a reminder of where we started, where we went wrong, and where we hope to go from here. Lily gently took the bracelet, cradling it in her hands as if it were made of glass. I'd like that, she said softly. For a moment, they sat in silence, both lost in thought. Then Jasmine spoke again, her voice gentle but firm. If we're going to try this, I need you to understand something. I'm not the same person I was before, and neither are you. We can't pretend like nothing happened. We need to be honest with each other, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Lily nodded solemnly. I agree. Complete honesty, no matter what. And, Jasmine continued, I need you to keep working on yourself. Keep learning, keep growing. I've seen the changes you've been making, and that's a big part of why I'm willing to try this. I promise, Lily said fervently. I'm committed to being better, to understanding more. I know I have a lot to learn, and I'm ready to do the work. Jasmine managed a small smile. Okay then, I guess we can try. Lily felt a wave of relief wash over her. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, but it was a start. A chance she hadn't dared to hope for. Thank you, Jasmine, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I won't let you down. Not again. Jasmine nodded, then glanced back towards the crowd of graduates and families. We should probably get back. Our parents will be looking for us. They stood up, both feeling lighter than they had in months. As they walked back towards the ceremony, Lily spoke up. Jasmine, can I ask you something? Sure, Jasmine replied. Did you submit photos of us for the graduation video? Lily asked hesitantly. Jasmine smiled, a genuine smile that reached her eyes. Yeah, I did. Did you? Lily nodded, returning the smile. Yeah, I guess great minds think alike, huh? For the first time in months, they shared a small laugh. It was tentative and a bit awkward, but it was real. As they rejoined their classmates and families, both girls felt a sense of hope. The road ahead would be challenging, filled with difficult conversations and moments of doubt. But they were both committed to trying, to seeing if they could salvage something from the wreckage of their past. As they posed for photos with their families, traded hugs with classmates, and made plans for summer gatherings, Jasmine and Lily kept catching each other's eyes across the crowd. Each time, they shared a small smile, a silent acknowledgement of the new beginning they had just embarked upon. The weeks following graduation were a whirlwind of activity for both girls. There were graduation parties to attend, college orientations to prepare for, and last-minute summer plans to make. Through it all, Jasmine and Lily began the slow, careful process of rebuilding their relationship. It started small, a text here, a comment on a social media post there. They were careful not to push too hard or too fast, both acutely aware of the fragility of their newfound peace. But with each interaction, the tension eased a little more, and the conversations became a little less stilted. About a month after graduation, Jasmine decided to take a bigger step. She was hoping to organize a beach day for a group of their high school friends, a last hurrah before everyone went their separate ways for college. After some deliberation, she decided to invite Lily. Hey, she texted, her heart pounding as she typed. We're planning a beach day next Saturday. Would you like to come? Lily's response came almost immediately. I'd love to. Are you sure it's okay with everyone else? Jasmine appreciated Lily's consideration. I've talked to them. They're okay with it if I am. And I am. Then I'll be there, Lily replied. Thank you, Jasmine. The day of the beach trip dawned bright and sunny. Jasmine arrived early to help set up, spreading out blankets and unpacking coolers. As other friends arrived, the beach came alive with laughter and chatter. Jasmine found herself relaxing, enjoying the familiar company. When Lily arrived, there was a moment of awkward silence as the group noticed her presence. But Jasmine stepped forward, offering a small smile. Hey, Lily, glad you could make it. Lily returned the smile, visibly relaxing at Jasmine's welcome. Thanks for inviting me. As the day progressed, the initial tension began to dissipate. Lily was careful not to dominate conversations or draw too much attention to herself, a noticeable change from her behavior in the past. Instead, she listened more, laughed at others' jokes, and offered genuine compliments. At one point, as most of the group was in the water, Jasmine found herself sitting on the beach next to Lily. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching their friends splash and play in the waves. This is nice, Lily said softly, breaking the silence. I wasn't sure how today would go, but it's been really nice. Jasmine nodded, digging her toes into the warm sand. Yeah, it has been. I'm glad you came. Lily turned to look at Jasmine, her expression serious. I want you to know how much I appreciate this chance, Jasmine. I know it couldn't have been an easy decision to invite me. It wasn't, Jasmine admitted, but I'm glad I did. It feels right somehow, like we're all getting closure before we head off to college. Lily nodded, understanding the weight of Jasmine's words. I've been thinking a lot about college, she said, about how it's a fresh start, a chance to be a better version of myself. That's a good way to look at it, Jasmine agreed. We're all going to be in new environments, meeting new people. It's an opportunity to grow. Exactly, Lily said. And I want you to know that even though we'll be at different schools, I'm going to keep working on myself. Keep learning and trying to be better. Jasmine felt a warmth in her chest at Lily's words. It was clear that her former friend was genuinely committed to change. I'm proud of you, Lily, she said softly. I know it's not easy to confront your own flaws and try to change them. Lily's eyes welled up with tears, but she blinked them back. Thank you, she whispered. That means more than you know. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the beach, the group gathered to take photos. Without discussion, Jasmine and Lily ended up next to each other, their arms around each other's shoulders. It wasn't the same easy intimacy they had once shared, but it was a step forward. Later that night, as Jasmine scrolled through the photos from the day, she paused on one of her and Lily. They were both smiling at the camera, the setting sun creating a beautiful backdrop. Looking at the image, Jasmine felt a mix of emotions. There was still a twinge of pain when she thought about what had happened, but it was overshadowed by a sense of hope for the future. She decided to post the photo on her social media, a public acknowledgement of the progress they had made. After a moment's hesitation, she added a caption, "New beginnings. #beach day, #friends." Within minutes, Lily had liked the post and left a comment. So grateful for second chances and new beginnings. Thank you, Jasmine. As summer drew to a close and the time came for everyone to head off to college, Jasmine and Lily met for coffee. They had been texting regularly over the past few weeks, but this was their first one-on-one meeting since their conversation after graduation. They sat at a small table in their favorite local cafe, both cradling steaming mugs of coffee. There was a moment of awkward silence before Lily spoke. So, are you excited about starting college? She asked. Jasmine nodded, a smile spreading across her face. Yeah, I am. Nervous too, of course, but mostly excited. How about you? Same, Lily replied. It's a big change, but I'm looking forward to it. I've been in touch with my roommate already. She seems nice. They fell into an easy conversation about their plans for college, the classes they were looking forward to, and their hopes for the future. As they talked, Jasmine realized how much she had missed this, just sitting and chatting with Lily about everything and nothing. As their coffee cups emptied, Lily's expression grew more serious. Jasmine, she said, her voice soft but determined. I want you to know that even though we'll be at different schools, I meant what I said about continuing to work on myself. I've signed up for some diversity and inclusion workshops at my college, and I'm planning to join some clubs that will help me learn more and do better." Jasmine felt a surge of pride and affection. "That's great, Lily. Really, I'm so glad you're taking this seriously." "I am," Lily assured her. "And I want you to know that if you ever experience any microaggressions or discrimination at your school, I'm here if you want to talk about it. I know I wasn't always the best listener before, but I want to be better. I want to be someone you can trust with those experiences." Jasmine was touched by Lily's words. It was clear that her friend had been doing a lot of thinking and learning over the summer. "Thank you, Lily. That means a lot to me." As they prepared to leave the cafe, Lily reached in her bag and pulled out a small wrap package. "I have something for you," she said, handing it to Jasmine. "It's just a little going-away present." Jasmine unwrapped the gift to find a beautiful journal, bound in soft leather with her name embossed on the cover. "Oh, Lily," she breathed. "It's beautiful. I thought you could use it to document your college experiences," Lily explained. "And maybe if you want, you could share some of what you write with me. I'd love to hear about your journey." Jasmine felt tears prick at her eyes. "Thank you," she said softly. "I love it." As they stood to leave, Jasmine made a split-second decision. She reached in her pocket and pulled out the friendship bracelet, the one she had found in her locker, the one that had once symbolized their unbreakable bond. "I think," she said slowly, "that I'm ready to wear this again." "If you are." Lily's eyes widened in surprise and hope. "Are you sure?" Jasmine nodded. "I am. It might not mean exactly the same thing it did before, but I think it could be a symbol of our new beginning, of the friendship we're rebuilding." With trembling hands, Lily took the bracelet and gently tied it around Jasmine's wrist. Then, impulsively, she pulled Jasmine into a hug. For a moment, Jasmine stiffened, caught off guard. But then she relaxed into the embrace, wrapping her arms around Lily in return. As they hugged, both girls felt the weight of the past few months, the pain, the anger, the regret begin to lift. When they pulled apart, both had tears in their eyes. "Thank you," Lily whispered, "for giving me another chance, for believing that people can change." Jasmine smiled through her tears. "Thank you for showing me that they can." As they walked out of the cafe, Jasmine felt a sense of peace settle over her. She knew that the road ahead wouldn't always be easy. There would still be difficult conversations, moments of doubt, and old hurts that might resurface. But she also knew that she and Lily were both committed to doing the work, to learning, growing, and building something new and beautiful from the ashes of their past. As they parted ways, heading home to finish packing for college, Jasmine touched the friendship bracelet on her wrist. It was a reminder of where they had been, but more importantly, it was a promise of where they were going. A symbol of forgiveness, growth, and the power of second chances. And as Jasmine looked towards the future, she felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. She had learned valuable lessons about friendship, trust, and the importance of standing up for oneself. But she had also learned about the capacity for change, the strength of forgiveness, and the beauty of new beginnings. With a smile on her face and hope in her heart, Jasmine walked home, ready to embrace the next chapter of her life, and the renewed friendship that would be a part of it. What would you have done if you were in Jasmine's position when Lily came to apologize? If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to my channel. I put a lot of time and effort into crafting these heartfelt narratives, and your support truly means the world to me. Thank you for being a part of this journey.